Well, King Charles and Queen Camilla are attending a state banquet in Kenya as part of a 5-day visit to the East African nation. The monarch has delivered a speech addressing the painful aspects of Kenyan British relations, but stopped short of an apology.
We must also acknowledge the most painful times of our long and complex relationship. The wrongdoings of the past are a cause of the greatest sorrow and the deepest regret. There were abhorrent and unjustifiable acts of violence committed against Kenyans as they waged, as you said at the United Nations, a painful struggle for independence and sovereignty. And for that, there can be no excuse.
Sky's royal correspondent Laura Bundock reports from Nairobi.
This was a speech that set the tone of this whole visit. It was also a speech that attempted to quell calls for the king to confront the controversies of colonial rule. The language of the speech was strong and it very much spoke to the room. The room, as you can see, open air, and that state banquet is still in full flow behind me. But like the British government in 2013, the king expressed sorrow and regret for historic wrongs of the past. He also described some of the British military behaviour against Kenyans as abhorrent and unjustifiable, but he stopped short of an apology, and for some that will be a disappointment. Many here in Kenya had hoped he would go that one step further. Needless to say, though, this was a speech peppered with personal memories and peppered with some Swahili as well, which went down well with the guests here. The king spoke of his own first visit here back in 1971 with Princess Anne, and spoke of reading his late mother's diaries after she first visited Kenya in 1952, where she famously arrived a princess and of course left a queen. He also told the guests here it was the very country where his son Prince William proposed to his beloved daughter-in-law. Look, these speeches are always written between the palace and the government, very much on message in many ways. The words, though, are always carefully chosen, and I think in this case they will be very carefully listened to, not just here in Kenya, but right across the Commonwealth, because one thing that strikes me is this trip has already highlighted one of the hardest challenges facing the king: how to address historic wrongs that occurred during colonial rule. But he has to now find a way to navigate this issue if he really is to prove that he is a monarch fit for the modern world.